And Tom, you have exclusive information on what you think Meghan's next move is.
Well, my view is that she is writing her memoirs and that all the rest of this...
Oh, no.
It'll be a huge money spinner. And all this, what we've seen this last week, is absolute media manipulation of the most extraordinary kind. First of all, this dancing at the Beyoncé concert, which was clearly all set up to film her hugging Harry. That was all phony. And then Harry knocking the media for not being nice to the Afghan victims, which was completely untrue. Harry's outrageous entry to the St George's Chapel just when the Cambridges were doing their service for remembrance of the late Queen. But I thought tonight this was really ridiculous. There was Harry doing really good stuff with the Invictus Games, but playing on these poor victims of war to somehow promote himself in Dusseldorf, which was absolutely, I thought, pretty nauseating. And for her, Meghan, to pretend that she was late because she had to give her children milkshakes was just ludicrous. I mean, this is a woman who talked tonight about the importance of family. The importance of family. From Meghan Markle, who did her best to destroy the royal family, who ignores her own father, who talks about we've got to look after victims and leaves her father in Mexico with a stroke and doesn't visit him, and talks about family values. These are two real imposters. And what is really annoying is that we shouldn't have to in any way admire what they're doing in Dusseldorf, because they have wrecked with all their lies. The lies on Oprah Winfrey, the lies in Spare, the lies that Harry said in his interviews about his father and his brother. And he comes to England, makes no attempt to visit his father or brother, makes no attempt to apologise for his past behaviour.
The conversation around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle has shifted dramatically over the last few years. What once looked like a modern royal reinvention is now being viewed by many critics as a carefully managed public relations project struggling to maintain credibility. And when veteran investigative author Tom Bower uses words like imposters, it signals something bigger than celebrity gossip. It points to a growing debate about authenticity, influence, and whether the Sussex brand is beginning to fracture under public pressure. One of the most revealing parts of this discussion is the idea that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle may be moving towards separate public identities rather than operating as a unified brand. That's important because, from the very beginning, the power of the Sussex image came from the partnership itself. Their interviews, documentaries, podcasts, and public appearances were all built around a shared narrative, two people standing together against an institution they believed failed them. But critics argue that strategy may now be reaching its limits. Prince Harry has increasingly leaned into causes tied to veterans, mental health, and global advocacy areas where he still maintains some public goodwill. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle continues to focus on lifestyle media, entertainment projects, and personal branding. To some observers, that's not just diversification, it's damage control. Because when a joint public image starts producing diminishing returns, separating the identities can become a way to protect whatever remains strongest individually. What makes Tom Bower's criticism significant is that he approaches the Sussex story less like tabloid entertainment and more like a reputational case study. His core argument appears to center on this question. Are Harry and Meghan presenting themselves as anti-establishment outsiders while simultaneously depending on elite status, royal connections, and celebrity influence to remain relevant?
Meghan carries on her lies and all the rest of it, and it really is shocking that we in any way afford them any respect
even though
whatsoever.
the Invictus Games is a great cause,
Yep.
it used to be a brilliant thing, actually, because their behaviour is so... well, it's contemptible, really. We shouldn't give the Invictus Games.
Well, we should give the Invictus in because the participants and the idea was brilliant, and it is being run very, very well, not by Harry, but by the administrators, and it is terrific for the contestants. I'm all for that. But the Sussexes are using it for their own promotion, and that is what's so nauseating, because in the end, of course, Alison Boshoff was right. They are looking for a new brand.
They're trying to separate their
brands.
brands.
They're desperate. What's interesting is they haven't got a platform anymore. No magazine is going to interview Meghan Markle anymore. Spotify and Netflix are not going to commission them to do more reports. So they're desperate for somehow to be seen. And they're using the Invictus Games as their platform for promotion.
And what must be so difficult for them, Tom, is that things are just working out brilliantly for the Prince and Princess of Wales. I mean, you've got William's trip coming up. And talk to me about this visit. This was quite bold, wasn't it?
It was bold, but she looks terrific, Kate. And she's intelligent, and she is so convincing and sincere. And we're very, very lucky to have her. And we're very lucky that Meghan isn't here anymore, in my view, because she really poisoned the atmosphere. Yeah. So there we are. We're caught between the rock and a hard place in this. But there we are. It's not a good view from Dusseldorf.
But what I like about Kate is she's taking these risks, but she's doing it in a very sensible manner, always connected to important issues, and she shares just enough of herself. So we obviously saw her at the weekend on the rugby podcast having a bit of a laugh with her husband, but it's not sharing deep, dark secrets. It's teasing him for pretending that he's good at rugby. And today she had her hand wrapped.
That contradiction is exactly what fuels accusations of hypocrisy from their critics. For example, many people notice the tension between rejecting royal life publicly while continuing to monetize royal titles and royal association in media deals, interviews, and branding opportunities. Critics see that as conflicting messaging. Asterisk wanting independence from the monarchy. Asterisk while still benefiting from the prestige attached to it. And that's where words like imposters gain traction among commentators. The accusation is not necessarily that they are fake people, but that the public image being sold no longer aligns with public perception. Celebrity influence today depends heavily on perceived authenticity. The problem for the Sussexes is that public opinion has become deeply polarized. Supporters still view them as victims of institutional pressure and media hostility. But critics increasingly see inconsistency in their messaging. And in modern media culture, inconsistency can be devastating. Audiences are far more skeptical now than they were even 5 years ago. People constantly analyze interviews, compare past statements, and dissect motives online in real time. That means every public move becomes part of a larger narrative battle. If Harry and Meghan present themselves as private individuals while simultaneously producing highly personal documentaries, memoirs, and interviews, critics argue that it creates confusion about what privacy actually means to them. That disconnect is becoming one of the defining challenges of the Sussex brand. For Prince Harry specifically, there's another layer to this story. His identity for most of his life was tied to the royal family. Once he stepped away from royal duties, he entered a completely different environment: celebrity culture, commercial media, and political commentary. That transition is far more difficult than...
And we learn that it's because she's had a little injury on her trampoline. So she shares just enough without being uncouth, I guess, in the way that Harry and Meghan are.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she is a star performer and a star person, and we're very lucky. And the King is very lucky, because King Charles, at the moment, in my view, is going through a doldrums. I don't know if he can pull himself out of it. I think he's not having a great run on his first anniversary. But everything is saved by Kate and her husband. That's the truth.
And William's obviously got his trip to New York as well.
And it's very important. And what's interesting is he is so popular in America. And Harry
Far
and
more
Meghan
popular than Harry and Meghan.
Much more popular. May it long last.
I mean, William, now the most, at this point in time, the most respected public figure in America, bar none.
And in Britain as well, probably.
Yeah.
many people realize. Inside the monarchy, public image is heavily protected by institution, protocol, and hierarchy. Outside of it, survival depends on public approval, marketability, and relevance. Those are unstable foundations. And some analysts believe Harry is still caught between two worlds. Asterisk, unable to fully return to royal life. Asterisk, but also struggling to fully establish a post-royal identity independent of controversy. That tension may explain why the conversation around separate brands has become so intense recently. Meghan Markle's strategy appears very different. She seems increasingly focused on positioning herself as a standalone media and lifestyle figure rather than primarily a royal commentator. That's a critical distinction, because the long-term sustainability of her public image may depend on moving beyond royal controversy entirely. The challenge, however, is that much of the public attention surrounding her still comes from royal association. It creates a difficult cycle. Asterisk, the monarchy generates attention. Asterisk, but continued reliance on royal drama may also prevent reinvention. That's why every new project from Meghan is analyzed not just for content, but for symbolism. Is she building an independent identity? Or repackaging the same narrative in a different format? What makes this story fascinating is that it's no longer just about the royal family. It's about celebrity power, media influence, public trust, and whether modern audiences can still be persuaded by carefully constructed personal brands. Tom Bower's criticism may sound harsh, but it reflects the broader shift happening in public opinion. The real question now is whether Harry and Meghan can successfully reinvent themselves separately or whether the Sussex brand has become too dependent on controversy to survive without it. And if the split brand strategy fails, it could reveal something even bigger. That the world's most talked about royal exit may have been far less sustainable than anyone imagined. What do you think? Are Harry and Meghan victims of relentless